my name is Sharmon, and I run a YouTube channel called SWF Beach Life. I moved to Florida a little over 2 years ago, and I am fascinated with the beach. I go as often as I can, and every week I share a new beachcombing walk on my YouTube channel. I've always loved the beach, and we moved to Florida with purpose. We wanted to change our lives for the better, so we said goodbye to the cold Northeast and now call Florida our home. I live in Southwest Florida, which has so many incredible beaches to explore. The world-famous Sanibel, the seashell capital of the world, is only a short drive away, so it really was sheer luck for me that we happened to pick the perfect place to live for beachcombing. When I started making my beach walk videos, I spent most of my time doing research, figuring out what kind of shell I had found and what type of critter had created that shell. Everything fascinated me, and I wanted to learn all about the things I was finding while out beachcombing. Looking for seashells is really an incredible mix of relaxation as well as excitement. The lull of the Gulf waters and the picturesque surroundings are relaxing and soothing, while finding that particular shell you've been looking for can be absolutely thrilling. I love going on my beach walks, and it's so gratifying that I can share the surroundings as well as what I'm learning about the things I find along the way. In my videos, I identify all the shells I find, and periodically I also share interesting tidbits about a particular shell. If I'm really lucky, I'll find a live snail, and we'll get to see the living creature up close. It all fascinates me, from the crown conch, which is a particularly gorgeous shell with beautiful spikes and stripes of brown and purple, but the living snail is also beautiful, with a white and black body that extends beyond its shell while it's out and moving around. The Florida fighting conch is another really fun shell to find. They are very common and not terribly hard to find, but they come in such a beautiful variety of colors and patterns, and there's so much to love about them. The juveniles look quite different than the adults, but are equally as lovely. Finding these snails alive is such a treat because they're quite feisty, and you can see that they have really long eye stalks, as well as a proboscis that's kind of like a trunk that they use to forage when they're looking for food. The banded tulip is another gorgeous shell that comes in a variety of colors and is always thrilling to find one that's whole. They're easy to identify from their shape as well as the dark bands that circle the shell. Did you know that some snails have a trap door? The tulip is one of these such snails that has a hard covering to its shell opening called an operculum. This helps protect the snail once it's retreated into its shell. I've also managed to record a live banded tulip moving around on the ocean floor. I am a big fan of critters, and I love when I can share seeing these creatures in their natural habitat. The lightning whelk is the Texas state shell, but I seem to find them all the time here in Florida. They get their name from the lightning-like markings of the juvenile shells. They too have an operculum that closes up to protect themselves, and they are carnivores, so they eat clams and other bivalves. Lightning whelks are special because they are sinistral shells, meaning the opening to their shell is on the left because they grow in a counterclockwise direction. Most other shells have the shell opening or the aperture on the right. There was one particular shell that I had really been hoping to find, the Florida state shell, the horseconch. Now, I had found small ones and pieces of larger ones, but that big whole shell eluded me for over a year and a half. I finally found one while snorkeling up at Stump Pass, and it was so exciting to finally find that big shell I've been searching for and be able to share my joy with my YouTube audience. The Scotch Bonnet is another great shell to hunt for, and I was having a hard time finding one over here on the west coast of Florida. So I took a trip to the east coast to see what I would find. The beaches on the east coast are so different than what I've become accustomed to on the west coast, and it was fascinating to see all the exposed limestone. It was over 5 hours of driving in one day, but it was worth it, and I came home with quite a few of those beauties. The lettered olive is another one of my favorite shells. I can't just pick one, so I have quite a few favorites. If you happen to find an olive in good condition, it will have a pointy top and a natural shine. They get their name from the letters, typically M's or W's, that are part of the shell's pattern. And this critter wraps its entire body around the outside of the shell when it's buried, thereby protecting the shell and giving it a natural shine. There was another shell I was really interested in finding, the Wintle Trap. These shells are quite tiny, so you really have to get close down to the ground to find these little beauties. You're probably not going to spot it just by walking along, which is most likely why it took me so long to find my first one. They are gorgeous, delicate little shells, and I was so delighted to finally find one for myself. The name Wintle Trap is Dutch, and it means spiral staircase. Sand dollars are an iconic symbol of the beach, and I do happen to find them pretty often while beachcombing. However, Down here in Florida, you are just as likely to find a live one as you are to find one that has expired. So, before you take it from the beach, you have to be careful and make sure it's not alive any longer. Sand dollars are a member of the urchin family, and when they are alive, they're a dark purple or a gray color, and they're covered with tiny little hairs that help them move around on the ocean floor, as well as move food along its body and into its mouth. It's important to check and make sure the one you found is no longer alive. Taking live creatures from the beach is illegal here in Southwest Florida. The sand dollars I typically find are called the 5-hole keyhole sand dollar. The short-spined sea urchin is another critter I happen upon regularly. When they are alive, they will often cover themselves with shells for camouflage from predators, so I guess technically they collect shells too, which makes me a big fan. They use their spines to move around on the ocean floor, and they're really easy to tell if they're still alive by just seeing if any of their spines are moving. When they have expired and all the spines have been removed, they also make beautiful beach souvenirs. While I'm mainly looking to go to the beach for shells, I also come upon pieces of coral, which is another fun item to collect, hagstones, and every once in a while I will find sea glass. The Gulf waters are not as abrasive as some of the other coastlines, so I rarely find sea glass, but every once in a while I will get lucky and find a few pieces. When I go for a beachcombing walk, I'm typically out there for a few hours, so I've come across some pretty amazing sea life. I've seen cow-nosed rays swim right past me on the beach. These sea creatures can travel in groups as large as 10,000, and it was exciting to see them swim past me with their wings. I can't even count how many times I see dolphin out in the water. We have a community of bottlenose dolphins here in Southwest Florida that do not migrate and take advantage of the fantastic weather we have all year round. I've had a manatee swim right past me, which was absolutely incredible to see this animal so close out in the wild. These docile creatures are 100% vegetarians and are also known as sea cows. I've seen countless seabirds on my walks, ranging from small shorebirds to the larger snowy egrets, herons, and pelicans. My most incredible sea life encounter was with a mommy loggerhead turtle laying eggs on the beach. We happened upon this turtle on Sanibel last summer. The turtle had been tagged, so I was able to find out her name, Periwinkle, and witness her lay her eggs, cover them, and then lumber back into the sea. Just a few weeks ago, I also got to witness one tiny little sea turtle make its first journey into the sea. It was absolutely thrilling.
Okay. You got this, buddy. Go.
Southwest Florida has the largest variety of shells in the United States, and I have personally found over 80 different species while out beachcombing, but there are still some shells I'd love to find, and so I have a lot more beachcombing to do. Every time I visit the beach, my curiosity takes over and I'm ready for an adventure. I zigzag across the beach and in the surf looking for beach treasures I can share with others on my channel. I know everyone doesn't have the opportunities I have to explore the beach as often as I do, so I love sharing all the interesting things I find on my channel, bringing people along with me as I find seashells and encounter sea life. I've had people from all over the world tell me how much they enjoy seeing Florida beaches. I've helped countless people determine which beaches they want to visit while here on vacation, and every time I visit a new beach, I provide all the details like parking, pricing, and the types of facilities and extra info I think would be of value to you if you decide to come and visit. I also provide information about the tides, the time of day I'm at the beach, as well as when I think the best time to visit the beach would be. And since I share a new video each week, it gives people an idea of what they might find down here depending on the time of year they visit, because oddly enough, there are times of the year that are better for shelling than others. I'm chasing my dream, and I'm grateful that I have a bunch of people coming along with me on this amazing adventure called life.
So whether you're planning a trip here to Southwest Florida or you just enjoy beachcombing, I invite you to come with me to the beach every week as we look for shells, critters, and all sorts of other beachy goodness.